Welcome, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here, and we're continuing our Italian campaign. So far, well, we're struggling down here in Ethiopia, which is not unexpected, and we're just trying to hold on as long as we can. We're holding reasonably well here against the British in Africa, and we are building up along the Yugoslavia and Greece for possible wars there. Now, Lubican84 asked a very interesting question just because we are recording this live here. What do you think the most expansionist empire-building country in this time period, meaning World War II? Japan, I know Nazi Germany did not want to conquer the world. Who was the most expansionist of the period? That is very interesting. Well, we'll let the clock get going on this. Okay, he's right that particularly Hitler, I would say, does not want to conquer the world. He wants Germany to no, let's add region here. No. He wants Germany to, shall we say, to be pure in many ways. Where I would say somebody like Himmler wants Germany to be ruling over a lot of subjects. Now, Hitler is incredibly evil. This isn't, so Hitler, long term, doesn't want to rule over Spain and France. Now, maybe move the borders west further, they definitely taking back, what was lost here in World War I that they had taken in the Franco-Prussian War. Hey, I have a series going on. The Franco-Prussian War happens to right now. But, so they may move the borders somewhat, but is not trying to take over like Britain or something like that. Definitely wants to move into the east and is definitely an evil power. Japan also doesn't want to take over the world. They know they can't. Japan is in a very weird place. And I know that, I hope this is answering your question because I don't have just yet a solid answer. The Japanese government in Japan, which in I think it's like early 1930s, the sort of they often point out democratically elected, and he was democratically elected, and Prime Minister is assassinated of Japan, assassinated by a clique within the army, sort of office. I was going to say, and I do think it's right, sort of junior officers. China is pushing over here a little bit much. Interesting. And as you go along, it is not until 1941 now. Certain ministries are controlled by, say, the Army or the Navy, but it isn't, and I don't know all the details, but it isn't until 1941 that Tojo becomes Prime Minister of Japan. He previously had been in charge of the Kempeitai in Manchukuo, and he eventually expands his portfolio over controlling 3 ministries within the what is otherwise the civil government of Japan. Now, I don't think he's running any one of those on a daily basis. Well, the prime ministership is one of the ministries, but the other 2, I think it is. I think he has, designated other people, deputy prime minister or deputy minister of whatever, interior or whatever, that's actually sort of running the departments, but it's sort of he's the official head and oversees the departments. Well, there's in essence two armies leading up to this period. Two armies in Japan. The army that's in Japan, and then the army that's over in Manchukuo, and both the political leadership and the army in Japan has rather little control over the army in Manchukuo, and they're the ones that push and get the war with China going, as far as I can tell from all of my readings. So it isn't even a planned. This isn't a planned in Tokyo. As far as, again, World War II is not planned in Tokyo, as the Japanese version of World War II, which starts in 1937 with the Marco Polo Bridge incident. Hope I got the year right. Isn't planned in Tokyo. That's planned in somewhere, maybe down here. I don't know exactly where. And now, where it really enters World War II in the open alliance with the European axis of Germany and Italy and others is 1941, when it declares war against the British, the Dutch, and the Americans. They've already occupied Vichy France at that point, territory of Indochina. They only do this, go to war over here, because they need oil to fight their war here. So they can't win a war here, so they add another war. Now they're thinking, looking at the previous war with Russia, Imperial Russia, the Russo-Japanese War. They're thinking that it's going to be a short war, that's going to be a naval war, that's going to, hopefully for them, they realize it's, especially the Navy realizes it's a die roll, a gamble, that they can be victorious and then sign a peace treaty. They're not planning on conquering America. They're not planning on taking out Hawaii. Not that they would cry if they did, but they're not planning on taking out Britain. They're not planning on taking out the British, Raj in India. They're not planning on taking out Australia. They just want a big enough victory to go, yay, we won. Okay, let's sit down and negotiate, because this is what happens in their war with Russia is they're doing reasonably well to take Port Arthur from the Russians. They're besieging Vladivostok. They're doing reasonably well on land. That Russia cannot win. Russia realizes that it can't support a larger force out here because the rails aren't even actually fully working all the way out to here, and so this is a long end of a supply chain. I know this is a long answer, but I hope it's interesting. Long end of the supply chain, and this is happening in early 1900s. They can't win, so Russia gets its big imperial fleet here from the Baltic that it sort of has built or has had built. It's as much, I think, foreign built as I don't know the details, but some of the major ships are foreign built. I think even by Germany, but off as a counterbalance to Germany. They get the Russian Imperial fleet, and a little bit of it goes through the Suez, but most of it sails all the way around the world and is coming all the way around the world and gets right to here, the Straits of Tsushima, and gets sunk in a big naval battle in the middle of a storm. But it's more of a, the Japanese actually do very well and sink the Russian Imperial fleet, and Russia has no real ability to build a new fleet. And at that point, Russia then decides that, okay, the war itself is lost. No, they haven't lost their country to Japan or anything else like that, but they've lost the war. So they pushed on by President Theodore Roosevelt of the United States, go into peace talks, and they settle, and yes, some colonial territory switches over to Japan, and the war's over. That's the kind of thing they want to have. They want to destroy Britain's ability to fight here. They want to destroy America's ability to fight here, and then go, okay, well, this colonial territory, particularly with the oil, is going to be Japan. Now, maybe they're also going to like, oh, well, we're going to keep Hong Kong or something like this. Maybe they'd be willing to give the Philippines back to the U.S. Maybe they'd be willing to give Singapore back to Britain. But definitely we got to keep the oil. Oh, and since you lost America, you got to keep shipping us steel so that we can, fight our war against China. That's what they want. It isn't the sort of as pictured global conquest expansion idea. Now they grab up a lot of people, a lot of territory in their wars, but and they don't even want to, and their biggest frustration is, even before this, is because even though they're winning, and even though they've got more than enough territory that they've gotten from China, China won't peace out. The idea was we'll get Beijing and because the Marco Polo Bridge is right next to here, we'll get Beijing and this sort of northern bit of chunk of China, and we'll hold that for 20 years, and then we'll have another war and we'll get another chunk, and then we'll another 20 years after that we'll over 100 years we'll it's like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So they were going to. That was sort of the general idea. Were they really planning on like moving to the borders of Tibet or taking Tibet? I don't know, but they definitely wanted to expand in this region for sure. So Chiang Kai-shek wouldn't peace out. He refused to peace out. The other, and I sort of have an answer, though you may surprise Lubikin. The other party that wants an empire is Italy. They also don't want to rule the world. He wants to have a rebirth of the Roman Empire. Now, when he starts this whole vision, he's allied with France and Britain. So is he coveting at those days their territory? Maybe. Definitely the idea of Egypt, I'm sure, is on his mind. Turkey is a very anti-Italian country at this time because, Italy is controlling roads and is making sort of pressures that they're worried about it may come to there. So, and we see obviously Mussolini sending 3 divisions to fight in national Spain. So some sort of, and Metaxas of Greece sort of kind of wants to become an Axis member, allied with Germany. And I don't know if there's a formal veto by Mussolini, but Mussolini wants Italy. It wants Greece. So they're not basically allowed to join the Axis because Mussolini wants it. And so, but I don't, they're not really looking too big. Now, who probably is the most expansionist, I would go with Soviet Union. Communist ideology is a universalist ideology. I believe Stalin was a communist. You might not say all communist dictators or all dictators of communist countries are necessarily communist, because especially in the Cold War era, you very well may have various dictators that they just get support from the Soviet Union, so they implement communism because they're on that side, not because they actually believe in it. I think Stalin believes in it, and it's a universalist viewpoint, meaning the whole world needs to be communist, not just a region. Hello, that boy Aaron, how you doing? And so you have the, and I'll present some evidence why I think they're the most expansionist. In September 1939, Ribbentrop and Molotov are meeting here in Moscow. A British and French delegation, headed by, I forget who, headed by a British admiral, they had traveled all the way up and around and come in here, sort of. This is before the war starts. through Sweden, I think it is. And come up here, is meeting with like the deputy foreign minister of the Soviet Union. And the deputy foreign minister and the British and French are trying to establish the pre World War One strategic treaty with Russia to hem in expansionist Germany, and the question that is put to the foreign delegation: what about the Baltic states and eastern Poland and particularly Finland? And well, what about them? Well, will they be in this Soviet sphere of influence? Well, no, they're independent countries. They wouldn't, you don't get to gobble them up. Molotov is saying, oh, sure, we'll take Lithuania, you take Estonia and Latvia, and you can have Finland, and you can have this bit of Romania and Poland, plus sort of not all the way into here, but sort of here. They swap out eventually. There's actually Germany does push in so well, so fast, grabs this territory, decides it wants to keep it, and offers Lithuania up to the Soviet Union as a replacement for it. So all the Baltic states end into the Soviet sphere of influence. And we see at the end of the war, obviously, Russia occupying into here, briefly occupying part of Austria, though they're sort of diplomatically forced out of that. After Europe is done, they invade Manchukuo and come all the way down and basically occupy all of Korea, though the U.S. sort of pushes them out of the southern half of Korea. They, obviously get Sakhalin Islands and are asking MacArthur for, dividing up partial occupation of Japan, and MacArthur says, fuck off. The Soviet Union, I would say, is the most expansionist of empire world building at this time of World War II. And of course, obviously, they end up grabbing up all of Bulgaria, Yugoslavia, Hungary, Romania, and they enter into the Cold War, which is maybe after the time that Lou Blachan is specifying, but they're the greatest expansionists now. After their sort of core territories, that are become republics of the USSR, then you have these fictionally independent countries of the Warsaw Pact, and then you have one level or another of puppets around the world that they are controlling. So that's what I would say. How's that for an answer? I know it's a long one, but I wanted to get there because I did think pretty early on with the Soviet Union. Okay, treaty with Germany, recon company. All right. Was there something particular out here with the Treaty of Germany that I wanted to get? Maybe not German military cooperation. 5 days, Italian irredentism, war with Greece, Pact of Steel, okay, yes. No. Uh, 5 days, cavalry attack speed, movement unit. Military factory sounds sort of nice. And this one here too. 70 days, get a new one. So this isn't bad either. Artillery, production costs down. Artillery. Yeah, we could do some radar stations around 35 days. There we go. That would be good. And we can got a new company there. I think it was reconnaissance. Probably gonna stick with our old trains. Don't need new ones. I don't think is Italy so much. We'll do that. Hello, Mauricio. How you doing today? Okay, so we got bonuses to 100% to synthetic resources and armor technology. Very good. Did I take too long and Lubican left? I was hoping he would respond to my thoughts. Okay, yeah, we'll maybe a bit later do those. Yeah, Italy makes a bunch of big mistakes, that's for sure. Standing by, yeah. Guys, you get up here and after fighters and follower. Oh, you can only do one, can't do both. Yeah, I would agree. Going after. We had a big fight there and lost a little bit. Going after Greece was counterproductive. The Axis powers including Germany, how do I put this? Can't win wars and decide, since they can't win the current war, they decide to fight a different war. It's Napoleon builds the Grande Armée. It's sitting here off Calais. And they want to invade England with this Grande Armée. And they know that England, it's going to be sort of tough. And now Napoleon has built, I was going to say probably, the best army in the world at the time. And it is a magnificent, well-trained, well-equipped army. And the combined Franco-Spanish fleet gets sunk off of off Trafalgar here. And basically Napoleon says, fuck it, I'm going to go invade Russia with this army. And that doesn't work out so well. I mean, it is a magnificent army. It can defeat any Russian forces out here. It's whatever, and it dies in the snows and fires of Moscow, and dies on the retreat heading home. So, you know, because he can't win the war against Britain, because Britain wins the naval wars and he can drive them off of the continent, but they refuse to surrender. They do have a brief period, the Treaty of Amiens, the Peace of Amiens, signed in the Treaty of Amiens, sets up the Peace of Amiens. There is a brief peace period, but mostly the British refuse to surrender. So he can't defeat them, and even that is as much, that treaty is as much a acknowledgement of defeat as anything else. Not like defeat of France, but defeat that Napoleon is defeated in his ability to truly put down the British. So the similar thing is happening with Hitler. He can't win a war against Britain. And I think correctly, though I'm not going to say it wouldn't have been possible, but realize it's a huge gamble, and if it doesn't go well, it doesn't just mean 2 or 3 divisions are destroyed, which is immaterial at that point, you know, 1940, or even early 41. But if he truly launches against Britain and his army gets destroyed / bogged down in you know, the invasion there, that there's a very, very good chance that you would see the Soviet Union pushing in from the other side. So he realizes, you know, he can't win that war, so he starts the war with Moscow, which is a bigger mistake. You're still being at war with Britain and going to war with Moscow is a bigger mistake than another. You know, Italy cannot win in North Africa. Italy is on its own at this point in North Africa. This is before before the Germans invade Yugoslavia. When you talk about Yugoslavian diplomatic situations, but even before that, Mussolini, you know, he can't win down here. Because if he just puts in another 5 or 10 divisions, they're not going to have supply enough to you know, keep fighting. It's as much about how many divisions can you supply, not how many divisions do you own, you know, to put into war. So he can't win down here, so he decides to expand the war. And what he, of course, mistakenly and badly, I mean, my God, you know, there is no plans or operations, to the best of my knowledge, of any naval invasions. Did the British take this? Foreign claims, current province. I guess they did take this. No, they took this away from me. How interesting. Okay. Of naval invasions for the war against Greece. Why in the hell not? And I understand, you know, Britain rules the seas and whatnot, but I'm not, you know, even like, you know, invading Corfu or whatever the hell, Port Epirus over here, you know, or coming down to the Peloponnese and land down here. Just, you know, a coastal invasion of a battalion, you know, of a brigade or two, you know, not even a full division landing down here, just as a, you know, counterweight to whatever. Nothing is planned. Nothing is executed. and it's just an attack against a fortified line, the Metaxas line, though it's a little bit more, I think, to the north here. Most of it is. The Metaxas line, I think it mostly is here. But it's also in the mountains, and they do very poorly, as I'm sure you're alluding to the invasion, and are basically being pushed back. I don't think the Greeks would have pushed the Italians out of Albania because the Italians can move in and supply and shift forces enough. But I think it was going to be a stalemate for Italy. Again, as I was saying earlier, you had the inability of Japan to defeat China, so China starts another war with somebody else. And what did Mauricio say? Delay the invasion of the USSR by 3 months for the Germans? Yes. Imagine if the Italians didn't attack Greece and Germany would have attacked within those 3 months. That would have been very helpful, but also, Arno, just imagine that the core, even just because early on there's basically a corps, an Italian corps is sent to the Russian front. Eventually it's moved up to an army, more than one corps. But had there been a reasonably modern corps, I get, because, you don't want to telegraph your moves too early, so you don't necessarily want to be noticed moving an Italian corps for war games in Poland or something like that. So not on day one, but on day 2 of the invasion, there's an actual mobilization of at least a somewhat motorized corps out of Italy being put on railroads heading east somewhere, whether to join up in Romania or whether to, like mentioned, go to Poland to be ready for, or to as soon as you get there, as soon as you get in there, to push into combat. Have that going. So another corps, it's not going to be a great corps, it's not going to be an all-conquering unit by any means, but it's another corps for operations in the east. So and maybe expand even before the end of the first campaign season, that expanding to an army if you're not having to occupy Greece and Yugoslavia. And not only any of all of that, you have opening up of another front that I think would have stayed at peace had you not invaded it. Because if you have Bulgaria, Yugoslavia, and Greece all at peace, all armed up, all semi-mobilized, and also, saying no British showing up, this means a lot less occupation territories, a lot less worries about, guarding the coastline. The only thing that and they don't take good advantage, they do use it somewhat, but they don't take, in my opinion, very good advantage of it, is getting Crete to allow more supply operations down here. But it's not, we can see, even while they're doing the air supply operations into Stalingrad, they're also doing, at first, air supply into the Tunis bridgehead, and then later air withdrawal, bringing forces out via the air in the later stages of it. Had they focused that air supply early on down here in Greece, particularly Crete, but moving can be air supplying from from, if this is too many British submarines or whatever, you can fly supplies to Crete, refuel, fly down here, but also fly landing further and further as you go east, that they don't do. So we know they can do it, they just don't do it because they don't see it as a priority early enough on. You must take into account that spring was also a very wet season and attacking earlier was not an option. Yeah, the 3 months, I don't know that you got 3 months, but you do probably have a month earlier, Mauricio, I would say. I'm, don't, I'm sure you could bring up some data and convince me that they didn't have a whole month, but I think they did have at least a month, at least 30 days earlier that they could have invaded, had decent weather. So there's definitely a delay during good weather because of the Yugoslav Greece campaign. There's also the problem there was a major earthquake in Romania in which at least one German division is fully put into the operations of, post earthquake recovery mode for civil and military operations. That then, of course, it's ready to go to fight by the time the actual Barbarossa kicks off. But it was in Yugoslavia. The Soviets understood that these divisions were in Yugoslavia because of Ploetsi here as a counterbalance to possible Soviet invasion. They didn't understand them as a very likely invasion plan. So I know we're just sort of sitting here, but we're sort of waiting for things to happen. I guess we're going to make some of the same mistakes of World War II here. We have 5 battleships, early submarine hulls, 75 destroyers. Wow. Okay, wow. Yeah, that's sort of why Finland accepts Soviet demands. Okay, well, they didn't put this at but okay, well, this is a bit different than 70 days for 2 military factories, like 1 military. Right? Yep, we'll do the Benghazi oil. We're holding this front long enough that I think it'll be useful for us. Now, okay, production. I want more aircraft. State should we build it? Not controlling that well enough. Okay. Those are ground attack. Do we have probably not enough air operations? Yeah, at least keeping that. A lot of transport. But that was a big fleet we saw. I don't think. Okay. Oh, we do have We have some extra fighters. Very nice. Okay. So, not necessarily good fighters, but fighters. And these guys, once you get down here, deploy over here and try to achieve air superiority. Logistics company. Well, that will help with keeping these guys a little better supplied. Let's take, I know they've got anti-tank guns. Good, I thought they did, but I'm just checking. Fast divisions. Turn these over to that. We've got a lot of trucks, so we go over entirely over to motorized infantry. And we don't have any additional towed anti-tank. So let's do that. Okay, so we've modernized our. Hello, Danieluk, how you doing? Grivna, is that? Oh yeah, I'm doing very well. And how are you doing? Oh, any divisions? Okay. Can we expand these guys? No, that's too much. Yeah, because there is a yeah, we'll do that. Get them a little better divisions. Our infantry, we were to do a logistics company, how much support? We have no additional support equipment. Okay. Producing only 2 factories. Well, no wonder we don't have very much. Very good to hear. Okay, we have ways of making you talk. So we captured an Ethiopian operative. I've not been paying attention down here, but I don't know if that's what's the point of overly paying attention too much down here. Oh, the Germans somehow showed up. How the hell did they get to here? God, I don't know. Yeah, you can fall back to there. And you can go to there to be a defender. And you can go to there. Hey, yay for the Germans showing up in Ethiopia. I still don't know how you got there, but cool. Okay, support weapons. That will help out, definitely. Now, Arno wanted to see us improve things down here. I guess we can do so. I wasn't even paying attention to Yoshihisa over on. Though I do see it over here now. I'm not used to looking over on kick.com. Yeah, is this real? Okay. I can't believe it's legal to copy the UI of Twitch. Well, what is going on with Kick from one of the videos that I saw about it? Kick.com that I'm over on as well. Okay, I don't know, I think it's called the API or something. I'm not Amazon wanted the live streaming software that Twitch was using. So it bought Twitch because it just has so much money. It just bought Twitch and has been obviously running Twitch. But what they did do is you too can license from Amazon the Twitch software. So that's what they're doing for Kick.com. It's not that they have they're stealing the UI. Is that they're Amazon owns the UI of Twitch and licenses it out as for other people to use. So these new people, I think they're running on Amazon servers, which are the people who are running that are running on Twitch servers or Amazon servers, and they're licensing it out. So they're basically Twitch just paying a licensing fee. So we'll see how it goes. I just figured that I should see it, try it out, because I'm multi-streaming, so it's not like I have I'm not doing what I normally do. So I figured it would just be a good idea. So that's how and why it's working the way it is my understanding. I know this isn't terribly exciting because we're not invading anybody. That's what everyone wants to see. But I don't know that it would be a good idea to invade either Greece just yet, or let's speed this up. And we are fighting down in here. Okay. Okay, this is just hills where this is mountainous.
Fuoco nemico! Fuoco nemico! Ordini!
Out and over the mountains.
Ordini!
Maybe we'll be able to hold the mountain line better. Where are the Germans going? I thought they wanted to come and fight. They not want to come and fight? I hate the way the AI does these things. Hello, Latoya. Yeah, well, Latoya, if you're somebody new here, you can check me out on YouTube or Twitch. It's gamer_1745 on those other platforms. If you want to do so, I'm live on all of them now. because it doesn't show that there's any viewers, though I do have a few things. This is very early beta, and I'm just here trying to build my brand, if you're finding me over there. So yeah, you can watch it on watch me on whether Twitch or YouTube if you wish to as well, if you just don't like the platform but want to continue watching.
Pronto, signore.
Okay. Back
Formazione.
a little bit there, so that's
Pronto, signore.
Tragic death of Giuseppe Tellera. Okay, well, okay, so we've got Libyan oil refineries. Yeah, right, do that because a teeny bit of. Oh yeah, I don't know, and it won't. It's so much in beta that I can't even post the schedule for upcoming streams.
Attento.
So
Avanzate.
you're right. It's very, very new and not necessarily functioning well. For some reason Twitch isn't updating for me, so let me hit the refresh. Take that. Okay, there we go. Now we have extra. Well, what I want is more of these guys. I want a lot of things, but okay, let's do 2 more factories of that. Ugh, 2 battleships in that. I'm going to use air power to. Develop things. Okay. Now, well, we're getting new medium tanks coming. So we come over here and longer weapons. Okay, Yeah. Okay. Make sure that it's this airframe we're going to. That's with naval bombers. Convert that over. So we needed more naval bombers, and I should be playing this better. Well, we're going to end this episode. Not the live stream, everyone. Live stream's going to continue on. But we're going to end the episode here. I want to thank you all for watching. I want to particularly thank Tim, Strongarm, Niagara, Timothy, Satoyjet, and Gary for support over on Patreon. It is much appreciated. But everybody else, if you can just smash the like button and, of course, subscribe or follow wherever you are if you're new. Love to see you around more often. See you next time for more, yes, more Hearts of